In today's video, we're checking out the CaTeFo Star200 T1 2.4 GHz wireless solution. This pack has a single transmitter, a single receiver, and it's designed for content creators or anyone wanting to up their audio game. If you're still using your onboard microphone coming into 2023, you need a wireless solution. So we're going to put this through its paces and see whether or not it's any good. I'll do the all-important distance test. We'll test it out for vlogging. I'll give you my opinions about it at the end. We'll also compare it up against the Saramonic Blink500 Pro. If you're a content creator or someone looking to up your audio game and you're currently using your onboard microphone, a wireless pack can make the world of difference to the overall production value, because audio is just as, or if not more important, than great quality video. Before we get into it, a huge thank you to CaTeFo for sending this out for the review. I really appreciate it. If you want to check this out, I'll link it down in the description below. I'm also going to timestamp each section down there so you can skip ahead back or forth if you so choose. Just to let you know, you're listening to it right now and you have been since the start of this video. I'm not going to make you wait. We're going to cover what we get in the box up next, and then we'll put it through some practical tests. First up, let's see what we get in the box. We get some instructions and a warranty card. We get a TRS to TRS 3.5mm audio cable. If you want to use this with a mobile phone, we also get a TRRS connector. If your phone still has an audio plug, this is the cable to use. We get a lavalier microphone included in the box, which is always a great thing, and we'll test this out in just a bit. We get a windsock for the onboard microphone that's built into the transmitter. This is always a great addition. We get two USB-C to USB-A cables for charging both the transmitter and receiver. It would have been great to have a 2-in-1 plug, but it is what it is. Here's the transmitter and receiver up close. These are extremely lightweight. It's unbelievable just how light they are. They might be some of the lightest wireless packs I've tested on the channel so far. Let's take a look at the transmitter up close. So the great news with this is we get a nice big on-off button right on the front and an LED indicator surrounding it, which lets you know if it's on or off. This LED indicator will also let you know how much battery life's left depending on the color of the LED. The transmitter has its very own built-in omnidirectional microphone. So it has a microphone already built into it, but we can also use the 3.5mm microphone input just next to it if we want to use an external lavalier mic. The left side of the transmitter has a plus and minus key. This allows you to change the volume of the unit, and if you press both of them at the same time, it will also pair if you have issues with pairing. The USB-C charging port is located underneath the transmitter, and the clip tension is extremely good. This is one of the tightest clips so far, so big thumbs up there. The receiver is built almost identically, except we get two outputs on the top. So the biggest difference is now we get the 3.5mm out that will go to your mirrorless camera. We also get the ability to listen to our audio in real time. So if your camera doesn't have a headphone jack and you like to monitor your audio in real time, if you're behind the camera, we get a headphone output. That's pretty cool. Let's cover all the specs and what you need to know in a practical sense. So this pack runs on the 2.4 GHz band, which means you get very low latency and really solid signal transmission reliability. That's quite a sentence. The built-in microphone also has an omnidirectional polar pattern, which makes it perfect for just clipping it anywhere onto your shirt and getting great voice audio, or you can use it in an interview sense like this. I'd say you've seen other content creators with these kind of wireless packs that have omnidirectional polar patterns doing interviews with them. These work great in an interview situation or if you're on your own. Now, if you like to travel and have the lightest rig possible, you get a kick out of just how small and compact this pack is, as well as how light they are. The transmitter and receiver only weigh 24 grams each, which might be the lightest I've ever tested. Battery life is decent, but not exceptional. We get 6 hours on the receiver and 4 hours on the transmitter. Now, the transmitters do most of the work, so the battery runs out on that a whole lot faster. Now, if you know the channel, I recently reviewed a CaTeFo pack. It was UHF, and it had pretty unreliable signal transmission. So this pack is in a whole different class, and I'm going to show you that right now. Up next, we're doing the all-important distance test. Now, this pack is rated up to 60 meters or 197 feet. So I'm going to start walking backwards, and then every now and then I'm going to turn around and see if it drops signal. Now, the last pack from CaTeFo I was sent performed pretty poorly, so hopefully this digital one is much better than the UHF pack. It should be in theory. So I'm about 10 meters away from the camera. I'm going to turn around and keep talking, and if it cuts out or does anything funny at any particular point, I'll leave some annotations on screen. Now, in an open air environment like this, it's the most challenging for the wireless pack. Indoors, it seems to work a lot better normally with these tests that I've done over the years, but I'm just going to keep walking backwards here. This would have to be 20 or 30 meters away from the camera, turn and keep talking. Now, at this distance, I would expect it to cut out, but we're going to see how well it works and whether or not it recovers well as well. Anyway, let's keep going. All right, so this is about as far as I'm going to go back. It's probably 30 or so meters away, so about half the rated distance. Facing the camera should give me the best results, but I'm going to turn around and keep talking and see whether or not it cuts out. Now, the last test I like to do It's just a walk and talk test. So as I walk back to the camera, this is to emulate a real world scenario outdoors. You might be doing some sort of talk to camera piece like I'm doing right now. And you just want to see whether or not the transmission signal is actually reliable, because this is an absolute deal breaker. If it works well as I walk towards the camera at this distance and while I was facing it from back there, we should be in business. Just know, anytime you get a wireless pack, you shouldn't really break line of sight. So turning around like this with some packs will break line of sight even at a short distance. So just keep that in mind. But I'll comment on all of this in just a moment. Let's have a listen to the provided lavalier microphone. Now, unfortunately, we don't get a windsock like this for the lavalier microphone. It's just a standard pop filter, and the wind's blowing this way, so hopefully it still sounds all right. But I just want to showcase the audio quality of the provided lav. Now, the great news is if you don't like the audio quality of this pack will work with any third-party lavalier microphone. So you've got the option to upgrade the audio quality if you prefer to use a lav. But I'm yet to hear this, so hopefully it sounds good, and I'll comment on this in just a bit. All right, I love this Sony for its image quality and autofocus, but man, I tell you what, its in-body image stabilization system sucks. So odds I'm gonna run this through Catalyst Browse, but I just wanted to do a quick walk and talk vlogging test here with the Sony a7S III, just to see whether or not this pack is viable for any type of vlogging work. Now the beauty, as I always say, if you watch my videos, beauty of a wireless pack versus a shotgun microphone is I can point the camera wherever I like and I can turn wherever I like, and the audio is still going to be great. Additionally, if you just need to, interview someone on the fly, you can take it off and use it in this fashion. So these are very flexible for vlogging. Hopefully it sounds good. Let us know your thoughts. I'm gonna wrap this video up by talking about the pros and cons of the CaTeFo Star200 T1. And I'm back to the Saramonic pack just to do the roundup so you can get a sense of how it compares up against this pack. So audio quality wise, the onboard microphone's great. The omnidirectional polar pattern works beautifully. It has a nice low warm bottom end on the frequency, as it should, being 20 Hertz on the low end. But I felt like it was a little bit attenuated on the high end when you compare it up against the Saramonic, but it's definitely not a deal breaker. You could always add in those high frequencies in post if you so choose, but I still think it's extremely usable using the onboard microphone. If you're doing any type of travel and you want the lightest pack you can find, I don't know if you can find a lighter pack than this that still sounds this good. So the onboard microphone paired with how light this is makes it a very viable travel pack. You get everything in the pack that you need to get started, whether you're using a mirrorless camera or some sort of other audio device that uses that TRRS connector. You get everything you need to get started, but I would consider this an onboard microphone system only, considering how poor the audio quality was on the lavalier microphone. That's completely unusable. It sounded almost like my camera was clipping internally, which it wasn't. It was extremely safe. I double checked it, and that's just the sound of the audio quality with the lav mic. But the great news is you could always buy a better lavalier microphone if you prefer to use that. So that option's great. But again, the onboard microphone leaves that lavalier microphone for absolute dead. I love the fact this pack is as simple to use as it is. You turn it on, it pairs instantly, and then you can just set the gain by using the controls on the side of the pack. It's a very simple pack to get started, and if you don't want to go menu diving and have option paralysis, or you're not into confusing menu systems, this pack will make a lot of sense. Now, the battery life is my only concern. At 4 hours, you're not getting the most runtime, but if there's a way you can charge it up during your shoot somehow, then you should be in business. But just keep all those things in mind. Overall, this is a much better pack than the prior pack I reviewed, and if you want to check out that video, I'll link it up in the cards. Thanks for watching. Catch you soon. See ya.